worries are fear, SugarPay is here.
You can use your card anywhere with SugarPay. It's accepted everywhere. We have the cheapest rates. You'll feel safe. You can be a merchant in the easiest way. So contact us and sign up today with SugarPay.
Don't miss the 2018 edition of the Inter-Secondary School Debating Competition sponsored by SugarPay.
So listen, as students across Antigua and Barbuda debate the many issues affecting us.
Be it education, health, culture, the economy, or the environment, we will dissect it for you.
So join us on Tuesdays at 6 p.m. on ABS TV or on Saturday mornings for the rebroadcast.
The 2018 Inter-Secondary School Debate, sponsored by SugarPay, on Tuesdays at 6 p.m. Join us!
Hello and welcome to all who have joined us this evening. It is good to have you, our television and studio audiences, with us for the final encounter in the second round of competition in the 2018 Inter-Secondary School Debate Series. Trinity Academy and St. Anthony's Secondary School will meet in this encounter. The mood selected this evening, the introduction of CSEC theater arts into the curriculum, has fostered culture in Antigua and Barbuda. Let's meet the teams in this encounter this evening, starting with the proposition Trinity Academy.
My name is Melissa Carter and I'll be the first speaker, and I'm from Trinity Academy.
Good evening, my name is Kathy Ann Francis and I'll be a second speaker, and I'm from Trinity.
Thank you very much, Team Trinity Academy. Now for the opposition, Team St. Anthony's Secondary.
Good evening, my name is Durrell Harve and I'm the first speaker of the St. Anthony's Secondary.
Good evening, my name is Rhea Watkins and I'm the second speaker for St. Anthony's Secondary.
Thank you very much, Team St. Anthony's Secondary. Both teams are familiar with the rules of the competition. However, allow me to remind debaters that first speakers will be given a time of 5 minutes for their presentations, and second speakers 3 minutes. During the rebuttal segment, 3 minutes will be given to each debater. A panel of judges will determine the team that will advance in the competition. Joining us this evening, our principal of St. John's Catholic Primary School, Mr. George Imhoff, UWI and Charisma University lecturer and CEO of Jade Communications, Dr. Jackie Quinn. Also joining us this evening, production assistant in the Education Broadcasting Unit, Sylvanus Barnes. We are just about to begin the competition, but first, let's pause to hear from our sponsor.
The sweetest way to pay is with SugarPay. SugarPay, SugarPay. At the end of the day, SugarPay, the savings will blow you away. Cause it's the safest way to pay. Use your card and
fill up your tank and take out your friends and shop for your food. Reload it again. Nails and hair, clothes for you for wear. No worries are fear, SugarPay is here.
you can use your card anywhere with SugarPay. It's accepted everywhere. We have the cheapest rates. You'll feel safe. You can be a merchant in the easiest way. So contact us and sign up today with SugarPay.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, Team Trinity Academy is meeting Team St. Anthony's Secondary in this encounter this evening. The moot, the introduction of CSEC theater arts into the curriculum, has fostered culture in Antigua and Barbuda. We will begin the competition this evening with the first speaker from the proposition. Please welcome Melissa Carter, Team Trinity Academy.
Sir Moderator, judges, listening and viewing audiences, and colleague, good evening. In this encounter, we will debate the moot theater arts being introduced to the curriculum has fostered culture in Antigua and Barbuda. I will discuss how theater arts has fostered culture in Antigua and Barbuda, while my colleague will present arguments showing how theater arts is an important tool in the transmission of culture to young people. Allow me to define some key terms. According to the Merriam-Webster Dictionary, culture is defined as, and I quote, the ideals, customs, and behavior of a particular people or society, end of quote. The same dictionary defines fostered as, and I quote, helping the growth or development, end of quote. According to the CSEC Theatre Arts syllabus, June 2012, the rationale for the theatre arts curriculum is to, and I quote, provide an important means of understanding, constructing, and communicating cultural values, end of quote. So, to restate the moot, we are proposing that this course, CSEC Theatre Arts, helps the growth and development of ideals, customs, and behavior of the Antiguan and Barbudan society. How does theatre arts foster culture in Antigua and Barbuda? CSEC Theatre Arts creates an awareness and appreciation for our history and language, both elements in building culture. The CSEC Theatre Arts syllabus examines a variety of cultural forms that are unique to communities and culture in the region. For example, the study of the ring games, team meetings, and folk stories, which form a part of our culture, are a part of the theatre arts syllabus. Without theatre arts, how would students know the significance of being a music, iron band, and the jambo? According to the Minister of Culture, Durrell S. Matthews, and I quote, theatre arts allows students to gain a deeper understanding of cultural expression seen in our society. Theatre art fosters culture since drama skills such as playmaking and stagecrafts such as costume making are also a part of what students learn in the CSEC Theatre Arts. The costumes being displayed on the carnival stage often represent our cultural identity. Though it is true that the art form of mask making can be passed on informally at mass camps, the CSEC Theatre Arts syllabus provides a formal setting for students to learn these skills, thus fostering the tangible aspect of our culture. Theatre art is also the foundation for several careers that are needed to manage national cultural developments. Our culture cannot be truly expressed without professionals who fully understand the significance of our culture. The CSEC Theatre Arts syllabus highlights many career choices that may be enhanced by the study of theatre arts. These include costume and mask designs, cultural officers and agents, and calypsonians. These are the very professionals who are at the front line helping the growth and development of the culture of Antigua and Barbuda. Consider the drama coordinator in the Department of Culture here in Antigua and Barbuda, Mr. Owen Jackson, who was one of the pioneer theatre arts teachers in Antigua and Barbuda. He is a sterling example of combining a love of culture and an interprofessional career. And also Malik Marsh, an outstanding theatre arts student of PMS, has gone on to make many contributions to cultural development through songwriting, acting, and as a theatre arts teacher himself. Since theatre art was added to the curriculum about 10 years ago, about 30 students per year has become equipped to showcase the culture of Antigua and Barbuda. In the ways mentioned before, and this is a growing number, the school's National Theatre Festival, held annually, which consists primarily of theatre art students, is also a proof of the increased interest in cultural displays. This is the end of my debate.
Thank you very much to Melissa Carter, the first speaker from the Proposition Trinity Academy. She completed her presentation in a time of 4 minutes, 51 seconds, according to our timekeeper, Aisha Lynch. Now, for the first speaker from the opposition, St. Anthony's Secondary School, please welcome Durrell Harve.
Mr. Moderator, honorable judges, members of the opposition, ladies and gentlemen, a pleasant good evening. We are here to oppose the topic which states, the introduction of CSEC theatre arts into the curriculum has fostered culture in Antigua and Barbuda. Let's define the key terms. According to Melvin Carlson in the Journal of Dramatic Theory and Criticism, theatre art is a collaborative form of fine art that uses live performers, typically actors or actresses, to present the experience of a real or imagined event before a live audience in a specific place, often a stage. The auxiliary verb has denotes what presently exists. According to the Oxford English Dictionary, the word foster means to encourage or promote the development of something, typically regarded as good. The same source defines culture as the manifestation of customs, arts, social institutions, and achievements of a particular nation, people, or other social groups. Mr. Moderator, we therefore interpret the topic to mean that in this present time, the introduction of CSEC theatre arts into the curriculum has promoted the manifestation of cultural practices in Antigua and Barbuda. We totally disagree with this stance. I will examine the theatre arts syllabus and textbook, while my colleague will assess the existing technical issues that have hindered the growth of this discipline in Antigua and Barbuda. Mr. Moderator, we have had the opportunity to peruse the theatre arts syllabus and textbook and have found some startling revelations. Both were created by people in the larger Caribbean territories, and both mainly promote the culture of those larger territories. Ms. Zara Errol, theatre arts teacher at the Antigua Girls High School, verifies this by saying that, and I quote, "There is cultural exposure in the syllabus, but not a heavy Antigua and Barbudan exposure," end of quote. The syllabus provides a table on page 23, which spells out all of the cultural forms that are tested and the countries that they originated from. Trinidad and Tobago is mentioned 12 times, Guyana 9 times, and Jamaica 8 times. Guess how many times Antigua and Barbuda was mentioned? Once. Audience, what is comfort? And where in the Caribbean is it found? Or what is Tokban? Just look at your faces. I know that you know nothing about these cultural forms from Guyana and Barbados. The point we are making is that even though the syllabus speaks to other cultural practices from various Caribbean countries, we see no manifestation of them taking hold here in Antigua and Barbuda. So how has this subject fostered culture in Antigua and Barbuda? Those cultural forms that are cultural to Antigua show no form of revival since the introduction of the syllabus. We had to be told that ring games, maypole, storytelling, and wakes are a part of Antigua and Barbuda's culture. The only cultural form that we have readily recognized was carnival. The textbook entitled Theatre Art for CSEC by Keith Noel et al. Is no better than the syllabus. Antigua was mentioned twice in the book of 232 pages. The first is on page 105, where they briefly mention Antigua's Christmas festival, the John Bull, and the Makajumbi. What was really vexing was what they said about Antigua's carnival. They stated, and I quote, "The Antiguan carnival is well known. Much of what is seen in this festival is adapted from the more well-known Trinidad carnival," end of quote. How dare they insinuate that we are adapting Trinidad's carnival? This is belittling the Caribbean's greatest summer festival. What does Trinidad know about Iron Pan, Jam Pon, John Bull, and Benna music? The second time Antigua was mentioned was on page 107 in an inconspicuous question. How can a textbook which has so little to say about the culture of Antigua and Barbuda foster its culture? Mr. Moderator, how can a syllabus and text that perpetuates the neglect of Antigua and Barbuda's culture help in the manifestation of the same? Impossible. If there can't be a revival of our culture, how are we going to learn that of other countries? This is why we are adamant at this point in time the CSEC Theatre Arts syllabus has not fostered culture in Antigua and Barbuda. Thank you.
Thank you very much to Durrell Harve of St. Anthony's Secondary School, the first speaker from the opposition. She completed her presentation in a time of 4 minutes, 57 seconds. We now move on to the second speakers this evening, and we begin with Kathy-Ann Francis, the second speaker, Proposition Team Trinity Academy.
Good evening, all. As my colleague has stated before, I will discuss how cultural norms are fostered, encouraged, or developed in young people. A quick examination of a variety of civilizations suggests that this occurs in two main ways. The first way is through direct instructions from family members in a home setting. In many African tribes, a father, for example, is responsible for teaching his son about the tribe cultural practices that define how they live, how to hunt, how to engage in ceremonial fights, and how and why certain forms of body arts are used. In our local context, many cultural traditions are passed on through stories shared at family gatherings. Parents and grandparents pass on ideas about how they lived and why certain practices are important. They would pass on to their children and grandchildren stories from their ancestors, for example, about the celebrations that were held in the early mornings of August 1st, 1834, Emancipation Day, so that young people will know why the cultural tradition Juve in the early mornings of the first Monday in August is celebrated. But how does CSEC Theatre Arts fit into this, you may ask? Many families no longer have the time or knowledge to directly teach their children the ins and outs of our culture. So like many other things in society, the school's curriculum serves as an important agent in communicating important information. In the same way, the mathematics curriculum teaches the consumer arithmetic parents once passed on to the children, and the geography that parents once taught children about the landscape of our country. It is theatre arts that is filling that gap in teaching young people about our culture. The second way that cultural norms are communicated is through cultural festivals such as Carnival, where the community comes together to display cultural traditions. And again, theatre arts plays a vital role. The CSEC Theatre Arts syllabus, in its aim, clearly states that it provides an opportunity for learners to appreciate various cultural contexts and develop the skills necessary for cultural presentation. The designing of costumes, the arrangement of calypso music, and the constructions of plays that are all aimed at expressing our culture are important skills taught by the Theatre Arts program. So you see, CSEC Theatre Arts not only provides students with the knowledge of our culture, but it also fosters cultural development by helping students to put into practice cultural traditions that the community holds valuable. I thank you.
Thank you very much to Kathy-Ann Francis, Team Trinity Academy, the second speaker from the proposition. She completed her presentation in a time of 2 minutes, 53 seconds. Now to the second speaker from the opposition. Join me in welcoming from St. Anthony's Secondary School, Rhea Watkins.
All protocols observed, good evening. I will continue the opposition's arguments on the topic, the introduction of CSEC theatre arts into the curriculum has fostered culture in Antigua and Barbuda. I will be assessing the existing technical issues that have hindered the growth of this discipline in Antigua and Barbuda, hence hindering the growth of culture. Mr. Moderator, we must understand that theatre arts is in its infancy stage, and before it can begin to promote culture, it needs to become firmly cemented in the fabric of our schools and society. A lot needs to be done for this to happen. The first theatre arts exam was done in 2009. 9 years later, in 2018, only a mere 66 students have signed up. This is not enough to foster culture in Antigua and Barbuda. We are rooting for theatre arts to grow and foster culture, but in this present moment, it has not done so. Judges, in the early 20th century, Jamaica developed a vision plan to foster the growth and spread of its culture in all its forms. It took decades to do so. Today, Jamaican culture is manifesting itself in and outside of Jamaica. The point that we are making is that we see theatre arts as the tool to foster the revival of culture, but it cannot just happen overnight. To effectively teach a subject like theatre arts, the government needs to invest heavily. And with only 66 students, it may be grossly uneconomical. To do so, Mrs. Marian Byron, coordinator of theatre arts and music in the Ministry of Education, explained that currently there is no purpose-built space for theatre arts in Antigua and Barbuda. She continued that serious enough government vision is needed to create the requisite space or large-scale training to make it felt. Currently, the theatre arts syllabus tests 3 areas, which are drama, stagecraft, and dance. To date, only drama is being taught in 7 government secondary schools, and 3 of those schools have absolutely no facility to foster theatre arts. How can this syllabus foster culture when it needs to be fostered itself? In an interview on Good Morning Antigua and Barbuda, Minister of Education, the Honorable Michael Brown, outlined the ministry's visions for the promotion of the arts and fine arts. We believe that this is a step in the right direction, and if this vision comes to reality, then we will be able to see the impact that theatre arts have on culture in Antigua and Barbuda. Until these changes occur, Joel and I stand resolute that the introduction of CSEC theatre arts into the curriculum has not, in this present time, fostered culture in Antigua and Barbuda. Thank you.
Thank you very much to Rhea Watkins, the second speaker from the opposition St. Anthony's Secondary School. She completed her presentation in a time of 3 minutes, 21 seconds. We've come to the end of the presentations this evening. The rebuttals are next, but first, a word from our sponsor.
The sweetest way to pay is with SugarPay. The savings will blow you away, cause it's the safest way to pay. Use your card and
fill up your tank and take out your friends and shop for your food. Reload it again. Nails and hair, clothes for you for wear. No worries, our fair SugarPay is here.
you can use your card anywhere. With SugarPay, it's accepted everywhere. We have the cheapest rates, you'll feel safe. You can be a merchant in the easiest way. So contact us and sign up today with SugarPay.
Welcome back. The rebuttal segment is about to begin as we continue the second round of the 2018 Intersecondary School Debate Series. I wish to remind debaters that you are allotted a time of 3 minutes in this segment. We will begin with the opposition, St. Anthony's Secondary School. Please welcome Rhea Watkins.
All protocols observed, good evening once again. We find that the proposing team did make some very interesting and true points. Despite them doing this, we agreed that they were still not enough to overcome the knowledge we have on why the introduction of CSEC theatre arts into the curriculum has not fostered culture in Antigua and Barbuda. You speak of Owen Jackson and Malik Marsh. I am sorry to say, but they have still not fostered culture in Antigua and Barbuda up to date. My worthy opponents, you stated that theatre arts helps with the formation of several careers and that these professionals are at the front line helping to push our culture. Mr. Moderator, while this might be true, it is safe to say they either just gone or just come back. So yes, while we may be taking steps in the right direction, they have not been active or even here long enough to foster culture. Please remember that theatre arts is in its infancy stage. Opponents, in addition to the professionals in this situation, please take note that it is left up to these very same professionals to take it upon themselves to instill Antigua's and Barbuda's cultural forms into our mere 66 students, as the syllabus tends to neglect Antigua's forms. Culture is culture, but it seems as though we are leaving ours way behind. This melting pot that we claim to be will soon shape us into nothing but a forgotten ingredient with the help of the CSEC syllabus and textbooks. You also mentioned that without theatre arts, they would not know of Benno and other cultural forms. But please show me where in the syllabus is Benno and other mentioned. We are examining a variety of cultural forms while not being able to manifest our very own. Please, can anyone answer what it is that makes us Antiguan? Because personally, I felt like I have lost it. So, Mr. Moderator, we stand our ground in saying that culture is not being fostered in Antigua and Barbuda with the help of the CSEC theatre arts in the curriculum. The syllabus does not promote our culture here in Antigua and Barbuda. So why is it we should learn about culture when we aren't even taking it upon ourselves to learn about our very own? A famous quote by Marcus Garvey said, "A people without knowledge of its past is like a tree without roots." I rest my case.
Thank you very much, Rhea Watkins, St. Anthony's Secondary School, starting the rebuttal segment of the competition this evening. Rhea completed her presentation in a time of 3 minutes, 3 seconds. Now, to end this segment, please welcome from the proposition, Melissa Carter, Team Trinity Academy.
Good evening once again. My opponent stated that theatre art is not well known in Antigua and Barbuda, but is well known in Guyana, Trinidad, and Jamaica. My first question is Guyana, Trinidad, and Jamaica Antigua? If we're talking about fostering culture in Antigua and Barbuda, why is it that we're using these other countries to talk about our culture development? My opponent, how do you expect us as a country to push the CSEC theatre arts if the sciences are being pushed by the educational systems and teachers? Ms. James Mannix, a degree holder in drama, stated, and I quote, In most instances, the sciences are being pushed by educational systems and humanities, and the humanities or the arts, as we refer it now, are not being pushed as much. According to Durrell Harve, a Nobel Literature winner, he states, and I quoted, "Political power, economic power, these things will change. They are uncertain. Art is lasting. It will outlast all these things." Us, as a society, have to develop our own culture. Theater arts cannot develop as a society if us as individuals are not taking our part in it. Yes, you are right about these ministers and stuff who are a part of theater arts should be pushing it, but we ourselves should take interest in learning about our culture through theater arts. Antigua and Barbuda is not getting mentioned in the syllabus as much in these books because we as people are not helping to develop it. Yes, you talk about these 66 students who have taken part in theater arts. They're making their small stages, as you said, it's an infant. But if we as people do not continue to push hard to make theater arts a big thing in Antigua and Barbuda, it will not get nowhere. We as a country need to foster it together. We need to develop it together, not apart. The syllabus, and as much because we are as an economy are not engaging in theater arts. Opponents, would you want your culture to die? No, you wouldn't. It is for this reason why need improve our culture values using theater arts. If our parents are not taking the time out to teach their children about their culture, the CSEC theater arts will take up this part and do it. Theater art uses the dance, choreography, directing, and playwriting to express their culture. These are things that theater art does. We have a bunch of choreographers, dancers, and directors who want to engage in this subject but cannot because we are not pushing the art once enough. I rest my case.
Thank you very much, Melissa Carter. Team Trinity Academy, you completed your presentation in a time of 2 minutes, 56 seconds. This encounter between Trinity Academy and St. Anthony Secondary School has ended. The judge's decision is next, but first, this break.
The sweetest way to pay is with SugarPay. SugarPay, SugarPay. At the end of the day, SugarPay. The savings will blow you away. Cause it's the safest way to pay. Use your card and
fill up your tank and take out your friends and shop for your food. Reload it again. Nails and hair, clothes for you for wear. No worries, our fear. SugarPay is here.
you can use your card anywhere. With SugarPay. It's accepted everywhere. We have the cheapest rates. You'll feel safe. You can be a merchant in the easiest way. So contact us and sign up today with SugarPay.
Thank you so much for staying with us. The judges have tallied their scores and have decided on a winner. To produce their findings and to name the winning team, please welcome from the judges' table, Dr. Jackie Quinn.
Thank you very kindly, Mr. Moderator, and good evening to our students and our listening and viewing audiences. These are the remarks of the panel of judges. Just some general comments before we give the scores. We felt the standard of this debate was very high. Both schools seem to have put quite a lot of effort into research and preparation. And that really is half of the task. The delivery, of course, is the other half. So once you've put in a lot of great preparation, and then you practice, you'll have a great delivery. We felt that debaters, evidence of the research, debaters quoted some of the interviews that they had conducted. Minister of Education, the Honorable Michael Brown, Minister of Culture, Honorable Durrell Harve. We heard quotations from the theater arts teacher and pioneer Owen Jackson, and Zara Errol, Marion Byron, coordinator of theater arts in the ministry. So great research, we felt. And the students actually went out and interviewed persons in the field. So there was a wealth of information to support both arguments. The delivery. We felt that both schools actually had very powerful, very convincing arguments, but the opposition, we felt, went the extra mile. They were more convincing, they were more entertaining, more engaging, and certainly more powerful in the presentation of their arguments. In some instances, we felt that the proposition came across a little bit flat, in that their presentation seemed more of a speech rather than a debate, where you're going to provide cut and thrust. Evidence of this was when the first speaker ended very abruptly her presentation. I think she said, this is the end of my debate. Now the rebuttals. Rebuttals are very difficult. If you have mastered the art of rebutting, you have mastered the art of debating. We felt that the opposition took several points, not just one, not just two, several points raised by the proposition, and tore down those arguments very well, provided strong, staunch, solid arguments to strengthen or to prop up their arguments and to render the proposition's arguments as weak or invalid. And that is what you do in a rebuttal. The proposition, we felt, undermined their own arguments by arguing that the sciences were being pushed, that parents were not teaching culture. We were not sure whether in the rebuttals the proposition was actually arguing the moot or arguing that there are too many other things that were pushing or stifling the culture. So the proposition seemed a bit confused and offered arguments to support the opposition's stance. You have to remember, in a rebuttal, it is not the place for new arguments. You cannot raise new arguments. You must dissect and bisect the opposition's arguments to render them weak or invalid, to give the judges and the audience a little doubt. I don't support that particular point. Okay? Now, let us talk a little about the delivery. We felt all of the speakers acquitted themselves well. They were fluent. They had good diction and clarity, good pronunciation and enunciation. They used gestures well to good effect, and they were able to modulate their pace and their tone very well. So they were in control of breathing. You didn't hear any rushing and heavy breathing in the microphone and so on. So we felt all of them should be given a round of applause, please. However, the judges felt that in terms of grammar, we want to see better subject-verb agreement, avoidance of double negatives. In one instance, we heard one debater refer to Derek Walcott as Nobel literature. He's a Nobel laureate in literature. So we want you to be more careful in the presentation in terms of your grammatical presentation and, of course, your factual presentation. So let us now look at the scores. I'll start with the better debater. The better debater on the propositions team, we felt, was Melissa Carter. Give her a round of applause. The better debater on the oppositions team, we felt, was Rhea Watkins, St. Anthony's. The best overall debater for tonight's encounter is from the St. Anthony's Secondary, Rhea Watkins. And you might have an inkling as to who tonight's winner is based on those results. The proposition, Trinity Academy, amassed a total of 57 points. Yes, give them a round of applause. The opposition's team, St. Anthony's Secondary, amassed a total of 80 points. So the winner of tonight's encounter in this debate series is the St. Anthony's Secondary School. Congratulations.
Thank you very much, Dr. Jackie Quinn. Congratulations to Team St. Anthony's Secondary School. Now for closing remarks, first from Team Trinity Academy, please welcome Kathy Ann Francis.
Good evening. I would first like to thank the judges for their remarks. Thank you to my opponents for putting up a good fight. Thank you to my colleague, to my coach, and my teacher. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Katia. Now from the winning team, Team St. Anthony's Secondary School, Durrell Harve.
All protocols observed once again. A very warm good evening. Well, what can I say? This was indeed a fiery argument. We are more than grateful for our opponents from the Trinity Academy who came and gave us a run for our money. Our coaches, Mr. Carl Christopher and Miss Angela Black, our esteemed judges, ABS listening and viewing audience, along with our sponsor, SugarPay. You all have made this debate possible. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Durrell Harve. Congratulations once again to St. Anthony's Secondary School. We say thank you to Kathy Ann Francis, Rhea Watkins, Melissa Carter, and Durrell Harve. That's the end of this encounter in the second round of the 2018 Intersecondary School Debate Series, brought to you by SugarPay. We thank you all for joining us, our studio and television audiences. The next time you see us, it will be the start of the semi-finals of this year's competition. Until then, goodbye. Okay, just before you move, we will do the draw for the semi-finals to determine the encounters. So I'll ask for a volunteer from the audience as we draw the names of the schools. Any volunteer? Yes? Oh.
The sweetest way to pay is with SugarPay. SugarPay, SugarPay. At the end of the day, SugarPay. The savings will blow you away. Cause it's the safest way to pay. Use your card and
fill up your tank and take out your friends and shop for your food. Reload it again. Nails and hair, clothes for you for wear. No worries, our fear, SugarPay is here.
you can use your card anywhere. SugarPay. It's accepted everywhere. We have the cheapest rates. You'll feel safe. You can be a merchant in the easiest way. So contact us and sign up today with SugarPay.
Hello, we've ended the second round of the 2000 Intersecondary School Debate Series. We will be moving on to the semi-finals of the competition, and so at this moment we will draw to determine the encounters. 4 schools will advance to the semi-finals of the competition this year, and so joining me is Kalila Cornelius of St. Anthony's Secondary School, and we will draw to determine the encounters. The first encounter, first school, Irene B. Williams Secondary. We want to note that Irene B. Williams Secondary received a bye into the semi-finals for the school that came out with the highest losing score. So Irene B. Williams Secondary, a bye into the semi-finals. Irene B. Williams Secondary will serve as proposition in the first encounter of the semi-finals. The first encounter in the semi-finals, Irene B. Williams Secondary and Antigua Grammar School. Irene B. Williams will serve as the proposition, Antigua Grammar School as the opposition. Now for the second encounter. Antigua Girls High. So Antigua Girls High will serve as the proposition in the second encounter of the semi-finals, and St. Anthony's Secondary will serve as the proposition, the opposition, in the semi-finals. So the encounters, Irene B. Williams Secondary School and Antigua Grammar School, St. Anthony's Secondary and Antigua Girls High School. Our thanks to Kalila Cornelius, and so be sure to join us for the semi-finals of the 2018 Intersecondary School Debate Series. Goodbye. Thank you very much. So can we have the...
The sweetest way to pay is with SugarPay. SugarPay, SugarPay. At the end of the day, SugarPay. The savings will blow you away. Cause it's the safest way to pay. Use your card and
fill up your tank and take out your friends and shop for your food. Reload it again. Nails and hair, clothes for you for wear. No worries, our fear. SugarPay is here.
you can use your card anywhere. SugarPay. It's accepted everywhere. We have the cheapest rates. You'll feel safe. You can be a merchant in the easiest way. So contact us and sign up today with SugarPay.
Don't miss the 2018 edition of the Intersecondary School Debating Competition sponsored by SugarPay.
So listen, as students across Antigua and Barbuda debate the many issues affecting us.
Be it education, health, culture, the economy, or the environment, we will dissect it for you.
So join us on Tuesdays at 6 p.m. on ABS TV or on Saturday mornings for the rebroadcast.
The 2018 Intersecondary School Debate, sponsored by SugarPay, on Tuesdays at 6 p.m. Join us!
Visit us on Facebook at Ministry of Education, Science and Technology-Education Broadcasting Unit.